It is Talking Reds. It feels like a while since I've done one of these. Maybe we've done one of these. I don't know, but certainly me.
Yeah, it's been ages.
I'm enjoying Talking Reds with you, Neil Atkinson, this morning. Neil, I am John Gibbons.
You are John Gibbons. There's so much Reds to talk.
There is. Yesterday was a day, and today's carried on.
Yep. There feels like there's you. I mean, what time did you do Ben Jacobs in the end?
Yeah, I did Ben at, what time was it in the end? It was about 7:30, I think, in the end last night. He was on New York time. He had a lovely New York backdrop.
Oh, fair play.
Which it was a shame it wasn't a video show, but they might clip it today. But yeah, he was obviously over covering the Club World Cup and had hung on. But he kept pushing me back because they were faffing about in the Apple store. And I was like, we've all been there.
We've all been there. We know how that works. You can tell it's a big day because I'm texting you to say what's Ben saying whilst you're actually on with Ben. What's Ben said, and you actually must have been while you were actually on with him because I just wanted to get advance of the actual show coming out. So that was huge. You did a big reaction special to the Isak news and to the Diaz news. It was going to just be the Diaz news at first, and then it also became the Isak news as things just got carried away.
Yeah, and then before we could even get to the studio.
And then there's Ekitike news, and there's actually smatterings of Rodrigo news.
Have you seen there's a bit of Rashford stuff this morning as
Come
well?
on.
I'm just saying it's there. Apparently he's on a list. I like the idea. So
can I whisper something into the microphone?
You can.
I quite like he's on a list. And the reason why I for instance think Arsenal should buy Rashford.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I think you can look at Rashford and say there's a body of work that he can play back post or left side of a 3 and attack the life out of the back post and score tons of goals doing it. You've got literally evidence of that.
Yeah.
And I think that, I can understand why you could end up saying, well, maybe it's Rashford. Because if we're going to play a certain way, maybe it's Rashford who can do that. Now, I doubt it'll happen very much, and I think there's tons of questions the way in which he's gone in a career sense in recent years. But all of that said, to me, that suggests the profile and the way I like, if you know what I mean. And that's why I loved Gakpo the other day, because he just looked like he genuinely looked like a lad who was 20 a season, and he looked like that at times last season as well.
Well, that's it. We did the free show on Monday. We were talking about the young lads and talking about Rio and Gamoa and Ben Doak and how lively they looked in the pre-season game and how lively they looked generally. But I remember saying on that show, well, for me, it's just an output thing. Is that if we play a front 3, then you want double figures league from all 3
100%
of your forwards, really. And
I think that becomes all 4 or even all 5 if you're spreading the minutes. I think you still want double figures. Like last season, we get pretty close to that. We get pretty close to that.
Yeah, we might. I think it's probably only 3 in the end. With Nunes probably just below that in the end. But I think, you want 4. I think doing that, and he could do that, but it's whether he can do all the other stuff. Can he do the pressing that the manager wants? What is the weight situation? But it is a lively one.
Well, I like the idea that it feels as though Liverpool have decided, after obviously having an enforced hiatus on all of this, to come back and just be absolutely full of needle. So yeah, we might have Rashford, we might not. He plays for some club who came bottom half. You know what I mean? They're not the best. Maybe the wages are too high. Don't even know who they are. Couldn't tell you where they're based. That sort of attitude. And then with Newcastle, it does seem as though Liverpool have pincered. I think Newcastle might have thought that they were doing something quite cunning, and it might still prove to be cunning. I don't want to act as though Newcastle are dopes. I don't think they are, but Liverpool have ended up getting them with a bit of a pincer movement, which I'm intrigued by. Which is almost if you won't sell us that lad, then we'll just have that one.
Yeah.
But if you want that one, and by the way, you could be really good, then we'll take this one off you. Thank you very much. That's the way this is going to work. And there's loads and loads of little bits and pieces that can go wrong with that sort of strategy, but I am struck where I think, all the Newcastle people saying, well, do you think they can play them both? Firstly, it just always felt a little bit like nonsense. But even if that's the case, even if they were absolutely 100% on that, well, they don't need Barnes and Gordon then.
Yeah.
So you almost end up going, well, if this is your direction of travel, there's something somewhere. The thing I keep coming back to is Liverpool, in a really weird way, because everyone said all the way through what will happen with the forwards is the dominoes will fall, and then suddenly someone will be forced to take someone they don't want. Liverpool have almost managed, I think, to manoeuvre that situation to suit them. So I can't quite see now how Arsenal could buy Rodrigo, because where's he fitting? You've got Saka, who's your most important fella, he plays all the time. You're buying Gyökeres, you've bought Madueke, you've still got Martinelli, you've not moved him on. You might move the other lad on, Trossard, but you've also got Havertz to come back at some point. So if you're Rodrigo, if you're Arsenal, that's a bit overwhelming in terms of where the numbers are at this point in time. So And Rodrigo can only go to about 6 clubs. He can only go to Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich. 5. There we go. I actually got it to 5. Maybe a mad Chelsea or a Man United shout or something. So 6. That's it. But City appear to be, their attitude is we're not buying anyone until we've got rid of some lads because we need to move some people on. So it's that straightforward. Arsenal have overstocked themselves. Bayern Munich are a possible, but it doesn't feel like Bayern Munich are that attractive at the moment for players, and I understand why. Paris Saint-Germain are absolutely boxed off, and Chelsea and Man United, it's a bit weird, and I don't know if you'd want to do it for a variety of reasons. So suddenly the Reds for Rodrigo, it's like, fucking hell, you could do. So you got him. You could go for Sesko if you wanted to. Arsenal wanted Sesko. Liverpool could decide we'll swoop in there. You've still got Ekitike. You've got the idea of Isak. You know, I said before about Gordon. There's a few other players who profile a bit like Gordon bouncing around Europe. Liverpool could swoop in there as well. They've ended up almost being able to look at everything and go, this. And I think what they've decided is Isak's the one they most want.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll be Isak until they're absolutely 100% certain it can't be Isak, at which point they'll then make the next choice. And what they're saying to Newcastle is, lads, 50% chance minimum that's Ekitike. One of them, isn't it?
Reminds me of a little bit, bear with me. Have you seen Escape to the Country?
I have not, but I'm in.
If you've seen property shows, you've seen this show.
Yeah.
So they're all very similar, but Escape to Country has 2 things that are slightly different about it. One of it is the idea that it's people who live in a city like Liverpool or normally London, I'll be honest with you, who want to move to more of a countryside area, and so the presenters let's say it's Phil and Kirsty, because it normally is.
Yeah.
Go out and find them from the homes, and they present them with 3. And one of them is the one you can't quite afford, but it's boss.
Yeah.
So that's you, Isaac. One of them is a little bit more affordable, but not quite as good, but we'll show you, which is Ekitike in this one. And then they throw you a wild card, which is Marcus Rashford, which is, this isn't what you asked for, but I want you to have a look.
Have a think about this.
Yeah. He's yeah. I know what you're going to say. But before you do, just have a little look, hear me out. Yeah. So they do a wildcard hear me out option, and it feels like that's the Marcus Rashford one that someone's just gone, I'm just going to throw in a bit of a wildcard here, and that's how he's ended up on a list. I think
it is a bit of a wildcard, and I can see all of those little bits and pieces. But I think they're going to end up in this thing. And the other thing to point out as well is, genuinely, I think this more of Gordon than of Rashford, but Liverpool could just do with having one of their attacking options be homegrown. For a wide variety of reasons. It'd be no bad thing if someone who's going to spend the next 5 seasons at Liverpool being on these squad lists, wherever he's up to on those squad lists, was homegrown. It'd be a good thing and useful. So I can see where you sort of end up with on that and in this world. But I just think they're going to end up doing 2. I think they'll do 2. I think if Nunez goes, I think they end up doing 2. I think if Nunez and Diaz go, they may still only do 2, if you see what I mean, because I don't think the manager's got any interest in compromising on quality. I think this is the one thing that's been clear all the way through. And it may well be that getting to 3 at that point might be just a little bit out of reach. But I feel with Rodrygo, the dance that's currently happening is Liverpool are trying to get Bayern Munich to pay through Diaz for Liverpool buying Rodrygo. That Liverpool effectively will know what Madrid will take for Rodrigo, and Liverpool basically wants as much of that as possible off Bayern Munich, at which point they'll just put that money.
They might get all of it.
And they might get all of it, but I think that what they want is all of it, because the Rodrigo fee that's being touted around is that Madrid will take circa 80 million quid.
Yeah.
And the what Liverpool want for Diaz that's being touted around is Liverpool will take 80 million quid. For me, that's no coincidence. I think that Liverpool have looked at it, feel as though that's something that they would be prepared to do, to shift Diaz on. Diaz wants to go, but I think if he's back in the swing of it, he'll be absolutely fine. I think Liverpool are happy enough with Diaz. So I think what's in Liverpool's head is, we'll only do Diaz if it covers Rodrigo. And then I think for something like Isak, I think that there's a world where effectively that's covered by Nunez and Elliott combined. And Liverpool have looked at it and gone, if we can get an Isak, we'll do Nunez and Elliott. I'd be intrigued to see what happens if they do Nunez. Newcastle say no circumstances on Isak. Liverpool buy Ekitike for something pretty close to Nunez. Whether or not they might end up saying, if no one hits the ideal price they want for Elliott, if they might end up saying, well, Elliott does another year, because we feel as though there's enough ways to use him with the couple of tweaks that we're making around the place. That's possible. I'm not saying it's inevitable. I'm not saying it's nailed on. That's possible, because I think supposedly West Ham have had a chat to Liverpool about Elliott and gone, oof, that's a bit rich for our blood. And I just think Liverpool will feel as though in the fullness of time they will get the fee that they want for Elliott, but they just either might have to go very late into this window or maybe even wait another 12 months. And we know, I keep coming back to it, Liverpool are pathological in terms of, you pay what we say. We don't compromise. I wonder if they might end up having to compromise a teeny bit on Nunez, but you never know because they've got big plans and they think big and they tend to get what they want.
And yeah, they do, and they'll feel that the Napoli thing's obviously a little bit of a blow for them because it looks like that they're looking away, but there'll be other clubs that they know will be interested. And what was it you mentioned before the show we did with Ben Jacobs, and it was really interesting to speak to him. I've never actually spoke to him properly over, I've only ever messaged him and sort of things like that. So it's the first time I've had a proper chat with him. And obviously Ben's a wider football journalist. He's out in America at the moment, was covering Man City and Chelsea. He said he was made up when City got knocked out. He was like, I'm only going to go to watch one team now. He did not say that on camera. But hey, we all like half an hour work. But he covered sort of Chelsea right to the end, and he was doing that. So he's got a sort of a worldly but a wider sense of what's going on with these transfers. And we were talking a lot about certain players. You're like, oh yeah, well they like Ekitike, but so do this club, and a lot of the top clubs will have similar sort of players on their list, and then a lot of clubs the rung down will have similar clubs similar players sort of on their list and things like that. And it's an interesting one because it's holding your nerve, but also you don't want to get left at the party with no one to dance with.
Yep.
So it's how you balance it really, and that's what really come across with the chat with Ben. So from Liverpool's point of view, if Isak's definitely not happening, they'll want to know straight away. And for Ben, this Isak thing will be, they've obviously had encouragement from the players' side. There's enough encouragement from Newcastle to not completely away. But okay, well, let's really put it on their toes now. Is this because they'll want to move on? If it's not Isak, then that's fine. They don't want to decide on the 29th of August it's not Isak, because then you go, okay, well, let's move Ekitike, and he's gone somewhere else.
Yeah, no, but I think there's a lot. There's a chain here where I think Liverpool have danced to an extent, I think, to the tune of Isak and his agent, in that I think they've wanted to wait until approximately this point in the window to come to a bit of a decision with reference to what they do or don't want to do with Newcastle. Because nothing else makes a ton of sense. Let's be clear about this. If Liverpool wanted Ekitike to be a Liverpool player for the first day of pre-season, he would have been. It might be involved playing a bit of a premium to Frankfurt, but it could have been sorted out. There's other parts. Rodrigo couldn't really have happened any earlier. There was the Club World Cup. You can look elsewhere and sort of go, well, why? I think timelines are really interesting, because there's one thing we know, it's that managers want to get the players in for the start of pre-season training, certainly by the time they're going out and being on the tours. So I wonder whether or not with Ekitike, Liverpool, I don't think Liverpool are desperate for him. I think Liverpool there'll be a fee where they'll feel as though it's a move worth making. I think with Isak, though, I think the whole thing has been, he's the one they want. And they've been waiting for the decision sort of point to come to a head. And I agree with you, but I think that the key thing now is it's in play, and I think it's resolved one way or another by the end of the week.
I do.
I think it's resolved one way or another by the end of the week, because if it isn't, Liverpool will, as you say, just want to go on to, well, what's our plan B? And the plan B might be, we go to Frankfurt, we have a conversation about Ekitike, that we like the price that Newcastle negotiated for Ekitike. That wasn't the one you were saying to us back in June, boys. And then maybe they end up saying, okay, we go with that. Or they say, you know what, we don't want to go at that point either. We're going to therefore turn our attention and go elsewhere. I still think there's a fighting chance Liverpool end up with no one who sort of wears number 9, if you know what I mean, someone who's got that classic profile this summer. Because I think that the flip side of the Isak thing, and the one other thing to watch, is whether or not Liverpool end up in a situation where they think we can get him next summer. At which point they're prepared to do another quite Liverpool thing, which is wait and then make to amend in the intervening period, which I think would involve buying players maybe who either are someone who falls more in the profile of someone like Mateta, who's maybe a bit of a holding position player who can then become a cover player, or alternatively just go, you know what, we're going to look at what Paris Saint-Germain did. We're not going to have someone who's an obvious sort of 9. What we're going to do instead is have loads and loads of pace and movement and players who can attack the ball and carry the ball, and we're going to do it that way for 12 months, and then we're going to return to Isak. I think all of this is still likely. I think the key part of this, though, is I think Liverpool will know about Isak this season by Friday.
Yeah, I think that's what they'll want, and I think that's why it's going to be a quickly moving thing, hopefully in a positive way, and let's hope so. Let's hope by the end of the week it's looking really likely
the idea Liverpool, that it feels at least feasible Liverpool could close this window out having signed Wirtz, Isak and Rodrigo it's out there, it's huge, but it is feasible.
Yeah.
You can now see the pathway to that having happened,
and it won't just be Liverpool. Again, to keep talking about the show, I didn't remember it was really good. It was really good because he, as I say, he thinks a bit wider than me. He's like, Arsenal are going to spend 300 million. He said, Ben said, I said a month ago, Arsenal spent £300 million, and everyone was like, no, they won't. He said, they've done 200, and they haven't stopped. Yeah. And so, but then like City, if you count January, which I think you probably should, because they were players for next season. So in 2025, they'll do over 300 million. So like, it's almost like 300's the new 100, because there's so much more money in the game now. But also, the fees you get for your players and things like that, and what you're able to do with wage bills, all matters. And it's going to be big summers for everyone, I think, for quite a few teams, and for the ones who isn't, it's because they'll have not moved in the ways that they want to. I think everyone would like a big summer, but whether they're able to do so. But at the moment, Liverpool are moving better than anyone, which is brilliant.
I think also the other thing is it's easier to see how all of Liverpool's money ends up on the pitch and with output.
Yeah.
And that's
always what they want.
And that's always what they want. But that's the thing that's a little bit clearer. Like when I think about Arsenal, I think Zubimendi will do brilliantly for Arsenal. I think he'll make a really positive difference to them. So I don't want to seem like I'm talking that down. I think he'll get them on the front foot a lot quicker. I think that involves the manager making a couple of choices and changes as well. Frankly, I think he's got to, for instance, decide he wants his fullbacks to push on and not just sit in fear of an eternal counter, which is the thing that Mikel Arteta lies awake at night dreading. Is the idea that his team might at some point be counted on, but I think if he gets Zubimendi as part of that, I think that could really improve them. But as you say, Zubimendi's 50, Gyökeres is 50, Madueke, 60. Madueke is 50 to 60, and then there's a couple of other bits and pieces that they look like they want to do as well. But I don't sort of come away from that going, and that's a clear pathway as to why Arsenal will score X number more goals next season. And there might be Arsenal supporters, if they heard that, say, well, obviously Gyökeres will score more because he's playing centre forward. First and foremost, it's underrated how much Havertz scores, but also big goals as well. But also secondly, it's underrated how much Havertz is part of how they play. And how they get out and how they play in a certain way, and they've got to remodel that. If anything, the major thing that will kick Arsenal on next season is the possibility of a season of Saka being fully fit. That's still the biggest thing I think that I'm most concerned about when I look at Arsenal, because at some point also I'm still of the view. I think at the minute, I think Saka's been a little overrated, but I think at some sort of point Saka kicks on in a big way and fulfills all of his potential, where he's plus 20 goals and plus 20 assists a season, and that's a fucking footballer. And I think he's more than capable of being league goals and league assists, and I think he's more than capable of being that. It's the Saka kick on that worries me more than anything else. Where they're concerned, in the same way that the thing that worries me about City isn't so much the lads that have gone out and bought so far, it's how those footballers can combine with the ones that they've already got. And I would include Marmoush in that, the ones that they've already got, and kick them all up a level in quite a significant way. I'm very much of the view, your smart money for next season on top scorer is Haaland. It just is. It could well be a season where Haaland does 30 plus in the league. I don't think that's a mad shout at all. That Haaland just flies back in because City are in better nick. Rodri's back. There's other stuff that's going on, and they're able to kick on. So it's the existing players I'm more concerned about than, for instance, even Cherky is part of that. Him unlocking Haaland again, and Haaland going back to this idea of being an absolute machine. That worries me. Whereas with us, if we buy Isak, if I was them, I'd be going. So they had Salah. And they had, they had Gakpo, and they had Szoboszlai, and they were really hard to play against, and they had McAllister, but they've added Isak and Wirtz to that. My God, they will be unbelievable. How are you going to deal with all that?
There's loads more, as you can imagine, from the Anfield Wrap. So there's a gutter show being recorded at 11:30. Rob Gutman.
No, it's now. It's happening now.
Oh, right. Okay, it's happening now. I do apologise. So there's a gutter show being recorded. That is going to be on Zoom. Josh has gone in there to do that. Rob Gutman hosted. He'll be salivating. I mean, he loves footballers, but forwards are his favourite ones.
They are his favourite ones, yeah. I don't like him talking about centre-halves.
His heart's not in it.
Yeah, that it feels unnatural, but also he'll just blather some shite. Whereas I think he's an expert in talking about exciting footballers.
Yeah,
he can't talk about the boring ones. I'll talk about the boring ones. You know what I mean? I'll really get into the nuts and bolts of the boring ones.
Yeah.
If you want some dull football chat, sign up to the Anfield Wrap. £10 a month.
But there's the exciting stuff as well. That's the beauty of it. There is the variety. There's Rob talking about the exciting ones right right now. So loads of fantastic stuff going on the Anfield Wrap. We are doing the Asia pre-season tour as well, so we're going to be doing loads of great content there. So we go over to Hong Kong and Japan. On the way, we're stopping in Dubai. We're doing a live show at McGettigan, so we'd love to see you there. It is on Sunday afternoon from about 3 o'clock. Check out our social media. There's a link to register that you want to go. It's completely free, but they would like to know numbers. How many bars have to put on, that sort of thing.
Well, people got to know that,
admin. So help them out if you are coming. Do check out our social media and register on that link. And say you're coming on Sunday afternoon. It'd be really nice to see people then. It'd be nice to see people in Hong Kong and Japan as well. We're not doing any official Anfield Wrap live stuff, but we obviously will be about. We'll be at the games. We'll be enjoying the fantastic cities / countries, and we'll be at various events that are going on, away from us. So we're really enjoying being out there, and we're going to be powered by Saily when we go over, because Saily are sponsoring us at the moment. And what Saily is an eSIM, so you download it straight to your mobile phone. There's no messing about. It just goes straight on there. You let them know which countries you're travelling to, how long you're going for. It offers you various data plans, and then as soon as you land, Neil, it just boom, clicks into action. No more messing around in the airport with tiny SIMs that you've just bought from a fella and you're not even sure it's going to work. It just
knows where you are and just boxes it off.
It just goes boom. You're in Hong Kong, here's all your data. We've had loads of people message us saying that they've used it, that it's really good value. They have more data than they know what to do with. I mean, I think we'll know what to do with it, to be honest with you. Upload shows and stuff like that. But,
that is what you'll end up doing with it. Who's the highest profile person who's messaging in favour of it?
Indy Kyler. Now, I don't want to say it's officially Indy Kyler endorsed, because who can afford that?
No, we haven't. No one's got that budget.
Yeah, exactly. Apple balked with that, but Indy Kyler messaged me asking for the discount code. First of all, because he's widely successful, but he's still not going to throw money around.
No, rightly so, and also he owns so many assets these days. He's got everything that he's got going on, and now he owns Luke Edwards.
So he did obviously want to get the 15% discount, which is obviously a very wise person and very wise thing to do. So it is TAW. I'll say the same to you as I said to Indy Kyler.
Rightly so.
It's 15% off.
He's an egalitarian man. He wants everyone to be treated the same. So
it's 15% off with the code TAW. So you put that in when prompted, and it's pretty cheap anyway. To be honest with you, really get it even cheaper. But I was chatting to Indy yesterday after the ownership incident, and he said, "Let everyone know I said that tweet using Saily."
There you are. I mean, what bigger endorsement could you possibly imagine? Absolutely huge. Yeah. So, I mean, it just doesn't come... Honestly, it's like Steve Jobs, RIPs with the angles now. Steve Jobs himself has stepped in.
Going, this is great, but who the fuck's in the Kyler?
It's all right.
Me, I'll tell you.
Yeah. We'll sort that out at a separate point. But trust me, that name carries some heft.
I'm going to have to go all the way back. Thanks a lot to Saily. As I say, we're going to use it in Hong Kong and Japan. We need to sort that Ash, but we are. It's the kind of thing we're going to be doing at Manchester Airport, but we're going to do it. We'll do it. That's the beauty of its convenience. We'll get all that sorted. 15% off with the code TAW, and thanks a lot to Saily. Any other business? I feel I've lost my head a bit with the Indy Kyler chat.
Rightly so. Any other business? I think the big thing is Liverpool. I think we can say with certainty, listen, we have to remember the obvious sort of tragic thing that's happened here. That's, I think, as part of the ramifications of it. It just knocked Liverpool sideways, obviously, for a period of time, but they'll come back from it the way I expected, in terms of wanting to do the very best that they can, and it is a testament to the professionalism of everyone at the club that, the very reason why we're talking about Isak is because the people at Liverpool have put this work in before this point and put it in now as well. And they don't always get everything right, and they won't always get everything right, and my God, they'll do your heads in, and occasionally they'll do ours in as well. I mean, let's all be prepared, if this summer goes the way in which it does, that they're buying fucking no one for 2 years, and we're all going to be looking at each other in the summers and going a bit mad, and that's very, very possible, but they've really sort of got to grips with it and gone from there, and then that's a really important thing to remember. And this then does throw into the idea of, and they still need to sort out a defender, and it wouldn't surprise me if someone else moves on and there's another move that they feel as though they want to make. I think they've spent 12 months getting themselves into a position, John, to be able to say, right, we can sort a lot of things out pretty quickly. And the other thing that you can see in this, the signings that there's been so far and the players that they're linked with, let's put Isak a teeny bit to one side because he's 25, but he is going to turn 26 pretty soon. I think if you look at the rest of them, they're all under 25, and I just sort of think Liverpool are having a big summer of getting a ton of footballers together that they feel can very much, when I say challenge for major honours, I mean be the other side of 85 points in the league. I mean be semi-final of Champions League. I mean by virtue of the way that squad then falls, end up going further in the domestic cups than maybe even sometimes you might want on a regular basis. And I think that that's the aim. I think this is a summer of saying, right, we've got the manager, we're going to get these lads in, and we're going to work out what the next 2 years looks like with Salah and Van Dijk, but we're also going to be building the replacement plan certainly for Salah, because I'm utterly convinced that Liverpool's ideal replacement plan for Mo Salah is Florian Wirtz with the Alexander Isak in front. That's their dream replacement plan for Mo Salah, and what they've concluded is we can have 2 or 3 years of that with Mo Salah as well. Isn't that exciting? And then from there, then those lads are in their absolute peak years moving forward, and we'll have that, and then at some point we'll have to replace them. But for me, that's what's most exciting here. And we had the banner up at the parade, and it just said we're never going to stop.
Yeah.
And I feel as though Liverpool's aim at, I think, recruitment now level is we're never going to stop.
Yeah.
And that's a really, really, really good aim.
It is, absolutely, and that's what they're trying to do, and they seem relentless at it at the moment, and you can only applaud them. Just to bring in a few comments before we go, AJ Park says Rashford is 90% confirmed.
90%?
I don't know where AJ's got that from. He's put Willen out later today. I'm not sure about
Hampton's
that.
lads, 100%.
Walsh, she says, enjoying the summer of Liverpool lads.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Very much so. A few comments about Harvey Elliott, and that has gone a bit quiet, which is interesting, isn't it? I wonder whether there's been a bit of a rethink there, his side or our side, or whether they're just waiting for the right price. Someone's put it, I wonder if we're pricing Harvey out of a move, but like you said, they'll have their amount, and that's what they'll go to.
They'll have that, but I think they're also waiting to see, like, where do Forest end up, where do West Ham end up. There's the clubs, the obvious clubs for Elliott, and I think they'll think one of them will hit the price that they want. But I do wonder if they're going to go with end up having just 4 senior forwards. I think that means that one of Chiesa or Elliott probably needs to hang around, and I know which one of those two I prefer to hang around, and his name's got 2 L's and 2 T's in it.
Very important as well. Loads more Ekitike stuff. A few people pointing out that they say, well, he's turned down Newcastle in the past, which I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what people are saying. A few people, someone saying it's clickbait. I was talking about Rodrigo and it's never going to happen. I think you might be surprised. He's been on this list for a long time. I mean, insofar as one knows any of these things, Liverpool were really eager and really fond of Rodrigo before he went to Madrid, and they were a bit gutted he chose Madrid. Liverpool, as oft been referred to on the Anfield Wrap, once you're on Liverpool's list, you never get off it. Somewhere at some point this summer, someone's had a chat about Piotr Zielinski and decided we'll rule him out finally. He's 35. But once you're on Liverpool's list, you're never off it. I would not be surprised if Rodrigo was I keep coming back to the fact that there's just the funny thing about a number of the players now is they end up with just not many clubs they can go to, and when you begin to then cross clubs off that already shortened list, you do end up going, well, it might be Liverpool or it might be hanging on at Madrid, and it doesn't seem as though he's particularly eager to be hanging on at Madrid. But that said, Liverpool have got to do for Madrid what other clubs have to do for Liverpool, and that Liverpool have to do for other clubs, which is reach the price point. Liverpool have to do that for Bayer Leverkusen. You've got to be prepared to reach the price point, and Liverpool will have a sense of what that is. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll leave it there. Thanks a lot to those of us who joined us live, and also those who watched it back, of course. Thanks a lot to Saley. Don't forget that discount code, which is TAW, to get 15% off your eSIMs, wherever it is you're going in the summer. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks to the video lads for making all this happen. I hope you like the new light. Let us know. Text in. Text in if you think we're really well lit. I'm enjoying it. It's a lovely shape. Up the Reds.